Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Severin and today we're speaking about the total lunar eclipse happening on the 26th of May 2021, and as you can see, I'm providing you with this information of this full moon in Sagittarius directly from the Swiss Alps, and as beautiful as the view is, as cold it is. So I have to try to remember everything that I want to say and share with you and wrap it up before I freeze. All right. So, eclipse time. Important times because they are like super full moons and super new moons, and they're pushing us in themes that are alive for the next 6 months. So that's why they're so potent, and they're always there to push us into a cycle or a kind of a theme that we have to work with if we like it or not, and it's to our benefit because we are being realigned and therefore we are being pushed a little bit in something that we normally wouldn't go into, and that's why it's so much growth and so much potential, but also challenges and confusion is mostly coming out of times of eclipses. So basically eclipses are when the nodes are within reach of the sun and the moon. So we have that right now, that's the case, and the sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Sagittarius. So Gemini, that's where the North Node is. And we also have Venus there and Mercury, which is going into retrograde soon. So Gemini is our intellect, our capacity to communicate, to socialize, to be curious, and to want to learn more and share and also listen. And it's our mind. And we basically are already in a phase where Mercury retrograde by the 29th of May, so soon, is going into retrograde, and that's going to last for 3 weeks, and that's when we internalize more. So it's not so much about being social anymore, but actually looking within how we are functioning, what we have been learning, and how we are communicating, and what is actually what is our inner voice saying, and listening to that. And at the same time, we're having this opposite side, which is Sagittarius and the full moon. So that's the theme really, or like that's the most important planet then, the moon in Sagittarius. And we have the south node there. And so Sagittarius is the archer that is directing its bow and arrow towards the sky, towards the horizon. It's living very much in the future. It's having this ambition and this motivation to going onto a journey, to learn, to understand. It's this philosopher, the traveler, the student that is internally want to understand more. And it's actually wanting to comprehend what is the essence of different cultures, different philosophies and religion, like what's that essence that everybody is about, and what is then that heart, or like this essence, the heart that is beating in everybody's chest with the same blood. And so when we have that moon on the south node, then it's actually even more a time of letting go. So that's the theme, or that's a title for me. All good things are coming to an end. And maybe that makes you sad, but it's actually also very beautiful. And the question is then, what are you willing or able, perhaps, to let go right now? And Sagittarius is simply then like our belief system that we have been building up over the last years or centuries, right? The way we have to function in order that we are going or growing into a dream, an illusion, wishful thinking, or something that excites us. And maybe some of these themes are right now coming to an end. And that's what this eclipse season is pushing us into, where we have to let go. We have to understand that some things, even if we have been planning it for years, or we have been wishing that it would work out, and it would have been wonderful for us, or even for the other person, or for the situation, or life would have been, secure, or it would have fit our way of expectation, then it's not working out. And that's not because there's some mean God out there, or the person hates us, or the job situation is awful and coronavirus is just the worst thing in the world, but just there's constant change. And it actually just proves, even though we are such intelligent people, that things come different than we have planned. So then what can we do? Well, maybe it's not about doing so much, but allowing that is happening to us. And that is then what the moon and the sun are squaring Jupiter. And Jupiter is in Pisces since the 13th of May, so just since a while. And that's probably the most important transit for this year. So Jupiter moves within one sign for a year and then it goes into the next. And so Jupiter moves into Pisces this year since the May 13th, but it will only stay there until the 29th of July. So only for about 2.5 months before it goes backwards again into Aquarius. And then only by the end of the year, or really like the 1st of, we could say the 1st of January 2022, it actually goes for good into Pisces. But then squaring Jupiter is basically where the release is. So it's a time of healing, a time of letting go, of also accepting and finding compassion or forgiveness for that person or that situation and the circumstances that we are confronted by. And that can be very difficult, especially if we are a very mental person and if we feel there is some righteousness there or things should be a certain way, that we can actually only by continuous grinding or even like finding an internal trust to something that we perhaps don't even understand, and we are inviting that domain, that we are not coming to a solution or a plan B, but perhaps we don't even know instead, and we don't know how the future will turn out. And that can be for some people very difficult, because that can leave you kind of like in the air with nothing, and you feel like lost, or you feel alone, or you feel scared. And that brings anxiety up, and your mind is trying really hard to cope with that situation. And that can be that then things are aggravating, like you're trying to bring security back, safety, you want to bring back reality as you know it, the old way, and hoping that you could go back. While this eclipse or the world is saying, excuse me, it's not working after your plans or your schedule. It's working in ways that you don't even understand or could imagine. And it's not because there is no meaning, it's just much more chaotic that you could ever imagine. And that's basically where some people literally have such a hard time that they can cope with the speed or the rapidity of how this change is working. And that can be very painful, and we need people that we can mourn with. Please, I really hope wherever you are, if you're having a challenging time, and I have a challenging time, we need to express our belief systems that are not matching reality. And then disappointment is basically then not so much the person or the situation or the place, but much more that reality is not meeting our expectations. So reality is not meeting our expectations, and that sucks, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean that we have to try to bring the all back and then everything will be solved. It's much more coming to this place where Pisces invites us, like Jupiter is there, to soften, to come to a place of forgiveness, of letting go, of becoming not more rigid, but instead becoming more flexible. And that's, you are actually not in charge, really, and that is difficult to allow, but that's also where flexibility comes from, where we are being humbled of not even needing to be in charge, and we can drop some of that weight that we have been accumulating on our shoulders and makes us so heavy and stagnant, and be becoming young again and fresh, because there's so much more waiting out there if we are allowing that something bigger is actually moving through us, which we don't really understand, and we can't. And allowing that is even like allowing to have faith for something that we can't possibly imagine. So saying that, it's also this adaptability to letting go and to change. That's really the theme of this full moon in Sagittarius. It's total lunar eclipse, and this theme is going to be there for the next 6 months, and it's going to continuously being there. I will also speak about that for the next. So it's going to be a partial solar eclipse on the 10th of June, where we have even more like Gemini themes there, where the mind is being there, and some things that we are really strongly believing, they are so real, they can manifest in our lives. So look for you where this struggle or challenge is there, and what is helping you to soften and to cope with the situation, rather than trying to go like a few years back. So on the same time, also what I want to say, and it's just playing into what I'm already expressing, and it just makes it even more like powerful, it's that Saturn is going square again, the second square with Uranus. And I have been speaking about this a lot before, because it's the main theme for the entire year. So Saturn representing the old tradition, the hierarchy, the capitalistic system is being squared or challenged by Uranus. And Uranus is standing for freedom, for change, for eruption, for rebellion, for basically also individuality. So rather than fulfilling what society is expecting from you and being a good worker or a good citizen and being responsible, it's like, who cares? Like, what's true for you? Like, drop your wishful thinking or idealism and just basically don't give a fuck and be a little bit more about honest or authentic what's true for you, and stepping into that is the theme for the year. So we're coming to the second square, and now the second square is more important even because Saturn is going into retrograde mode. So since 3 days, when you're watching this today on the 26th of May, since 3 days, Saturn is in retrograde, and that means we're even more contemplating all themes and letting go. So it's kind of integrating all material and finding a closure as well. There's some themes that we simply have to move on because they're not healthy for us anymore, because they're not even representing who we truly are and we didn't even know before, because Uranus just pushes and crumbles some belief system that we only realizing now. And there's a part in us where we're like, can we trust that? Is that not a bit too fresh? Maybe that's not true. It's just so new. Maybe I have been functioning differently, but actually this is there, and it's going to be stronger and stronger during the entire year, and that you come to a place where you feel, in order to be true to yourself, not to the society which Saturn is kind of telling you, but what will people say, what will people think, how will be the reaction, like what's going to be the feedback from us, like, well, sorry, I would like to fulfill all these expectations, but that makes it even more difficult because I feel I need to be true to myself. So it's really important that we have people around that are willing to listen, like wherever you are, please, I really hope that you have people around you that can be there for you, that you don't feel alone, that just can listen actively to you and just hear what you have to say, and that you are allowed to change your mind, to be different, to perhaps even reveal something that you haven't shared before and you're only now willing or able to express. And that is even new for yourself, and you just have figured that out, but it feels right, and that's the most important part, right? So Saturn, the old, being squared by Uranus, the new, and Saturn is in retrograde where it's like, okay, I understand, I have to let that go. And Uranus is kind of like, come on, move on. Change is inevitable. It's time now. Hurry up. Like, there is something new waiting for you. It's an invitation to grow. And there is an enlightenment, there is an excitement for you waiting if you finally move through the old. But that old has to be accepted and allowed to pass on and kind of crumble away. So that's a theme for the year, but by the 14th of June, the second square is happening, which is emphasizing this theme even more. So that's there as well, and it's playing into the whole theme. And then we could also say, while we are in this eclipse window, so between the 26th of May and the 10th of June, there is also this time of karmic ripening. And you see that with this full moon in Sag, because there is Neptune in Pisces as well. And so there's all themes that you perhaps simply feel like it's coming to a closure. Maybe you would have wished it would have gone longer, maybe you have thought it would go longer, but it's just the way it is right now. And as I said before, the problem is not so much the situation, it's much more that disappointment is coming because reality is not meeting your expectation. So reality is not meeting your expectation, and then by understanding that and not blaming the person, the parent, the children, the dream that is changing, the workplace that you're going, or the living situation that you're having, then there's simply new opportunities coming, and it's also an invitation to grow. And from that place then there is a saying thank you, a healing capacity, and a forgiving, and making peace with ourselves as well, and hopefully coming to a place of being grateful for what you have been living out for the last year and that you're ready for a new adventure and that it is your choice to let go if you want that. And it's right now the moment that you can take time to really say thank you for that, rather than putting up your walls and saying, this is so hard, I will never get over that, and you are such and such. So with this, I feel I have mentioned a lot, and I really hope I gave you some tangible things to express that gives you support on your process. Of course, always an individual session with an astrologer, a counselor, like a mentor, or just somebody that can listen to you is more effective, because it takes care of your individual situation and where you are at in your life. And I will be soon, I feel that spark again within me, I will make myself available again, and I will receive like sessions again if you want to work with me. And also I want to let you know, I will say that on my social media platform, but I will tell you over WhatsApp for those of you that are in my group. I will also try to move away from WhatsApp and share with you that same information over Telegram, maybe Signal, or even Trema if you are there as well, so we can stay in contact. So for now, I wish you an amazing lunar eclipse, all the best in crumbling, and I really hope that you are rather seeing the challenges, that you can allow them to be there. It's not possible without, but that you can also see the opportunity in the possibilities that are awaiting you simply from that place of spaciousness. Something can find you that you wouldn't have been imagining in your wildest dreams if you are allowing to follow that inner compass that's already there within you. All the best, and you are not alone. Goodbye.